A small town lies under a moonless night, fog curling through empty streets. James, a young man, steps out of a diner, his breath visible in the cold air. A distant church bell tolls, its sound warped and eerie, echoing unnaturally. James walks down a dark alley, streetlights flickering, casting long shadows. A pale, bony hand darts out from the shadows, then vanishes instantly. Heavy footsteps echo behind him, growing louder, closer with every step. James turns, freezing. A cloaked figure stands under a streetlight, head bowed. The figure's hood shifts slightly, revealing a glimpse of pale skin. The nun raises her head, her face bone white, eyes black void staring blankly. James screams, sprinting away, the nun gliding after him, unnaturally fast. He reaches an abandoned church, its wooden doors slamming shut behind him. Inside, moonlight spills through broken windows, illuminating dusty pews. Whispers fill the air, like dozens of voices praying, but no one is there. A crucifix on the altar flips upside down, blood dripping from its edges. James stumbles back, tripping over an old Bible, its pages fluttering wildly. The Bible's pages stop, revealing a drawing of the nun's twisted face. The nun appears inches from James, her cracked mouth hissing a guttural sound. James bolts up a creaking wooden staircase, each step threatening to collapse. He bursts into a small room, walls covered in paintings of the nun's warped face. One painting crashes to the floor, revealing a hidden door behind the wall. James opens the door, stepping into a dark hallway lined with strange symbols. His flashlight flickers, casting jagged shadows on the carved walls. The nun appears at the hall's end, her head tilted at an impossible angle. James runs, but the hallway stretches endlessly, walls closing in around him. The nun's raspy laugh echoes, coming from every direction at once. James TR away, illuminating the nun's scarred feet. The flashlight spins, briefly showing her claws scraping the floor. He crawls to a corner, spotting an old mirror reflecting the nun behind him. James smashes the mirror, shards flying, but her laugh grows louder. He finds a staircase leading to a basement, no other way out. In the basement, faint light reveals cages filled with human bones. A cage door creaks open, its hinges screaming in the silence. The nun slithers out from the cage, her body twisting in unnatural ways. He reaches an old altar, a wooden box engraved with a cross on top. The nun's claws scrape closer, leaving gouges in the stone floor. James opens the box, finding a vial of holy water glowing faintly. He splashes the water at the nun, her scream shaking the walls as she faints. The nun dissolves into collapsed smoke, the basement trembling violently. James sprints out as the church collapses, debris exploding behind him. He stands in the nearby graveyard, panting, believing he's safe. A pale hand bursts from the dirt, grabbing his ankle with crushing force. James screams, kicking free, stumbling back into the fog. The graveyard grows quiet, fog swallowing the church ruins. His flashlight flickers out, plunging him into total darkness. A faint whisper begins, the nun's voice chanting his name softly. A single candle flickers nearby, casting her shadow on a tombstone. The nun's face looms over him, her black eyes wide, unblinking. James runs blindly, branches snapping as he crashes through the woods. The nun glides after him, her cloak billowing like a living shadow. He trips over a root, landing face first in the dirt, gasping for air. The nun's hand reaches down, her claws inches from his face. A sudden gust of wind blows dust, obscuring her for a moment. James scrambles up, spotting a rusted gate leading out of the woods. He pushes through the gate, collapsing on the other side, exhausted. The town lies silent, no lights, no sound, as if abandoned entirely. James' hand shakes as he pulls out his phone. The screen cracked and dead. He hears a creak and turns. A door in a nearby house swings open slowly. The door's hinges groan, revealing only darkness inside. The nun's silhouette fills the doorway, her head twitching unnaturally. James bolts again, his footsteps echoing in the empty streets. The nun appears at every corner, her form flickering like a broken film. He ducks into an alley, pressing himself against a brick wall, breathless. The nun's shadow stretches across the wall, growing larger. closer. A rat scurries past, startling him, breaking the silence. Her claws graze his shoulder, leaving a burning scratch. James finds a storm drain, crawling inside, barely fitting through. The nun peers into the drain, her face distorted, mouth stretching wide. Inside, James crawls faster, water splashing, his heart pounding. He emerges in a ditch, the town now far behind, fog still thick. The nun's laugh echoes, closer than before. Her black eyes appear in the fog, staring directly at him. The screen glitches, her face flashing closer with each flicker. Darkness swallows everything, leaving only James' scream, then silence.
It was just another rainy night in the city, cold and empty. David sat alone, the glow of his phone lighting his tired face. He kept swiping through strangers, one face blurring into another. Then suddenly, her picture appeared, beautiful, distant, unsettling. With a hesitant smile, he pressed match. The lights flickered, once, then again. But David didn't notice. She messaged first, friendly, simple, too perfect. They talked for hours. Days passed like minutes. Her profile changed, now only the eyes remained, staring like this. He sent a selfie. She replied with only a smiling emoji. He laughed, unaware of how hard the rain had started falling. Then came the message.
Let's meet tomorrow night.
He looked up. 11:11. A strange chill crept down his spine. The room went dark. Outside, the storm began to howl. He stared into the rain, as if something might stare back. One last message. See you soon. His breath caught. He stood before the mirror, fixing his hair like it actually mattered. He chose a shirt. The light above him buzzed, and the mirror shimmered. Something fell, a sound too sharp in the stillness. He walked to the cafe under the rain, not knowing what walked with him. The door chimed softly, like a breath before a scream. He waited. Minutes dragged like hours. The ticking got louder. A shape formed outside the fogged glass, unmoving. She entered without a sound, eyes locked on his. The cafe light bent oddly around her skin, like it avoided her. Her smile widened. Her eyes didn't blink. In her pupils, he saw himself, smaller, distorted. He greeted her with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Her hand met his. It felt like touching winter itself. They sat together. The silence filled the room like water. He talked to stay human. She nodded to stay convincing. Her stare was endless. Her eyes didn't need to blink. He looked away, heart pounding louder than the rain outside. The lights dimmed. The world drained of warmth and color. Her drink sat untouched, but the face in it wasn't hers anymore. They stepped into the rain. He offered the umbrella. She didn't need it. Water slid off her, untouched, as if it feared to stay. He spoke nervously. She walked in silence, too quiet, too still. Back home, the hallway lights blinked, like something was trying to break through. He opened the door for her, like he always imagined doing on a real date. It twisted, just a flicker, but David's skin crawled. He filled a glass, hands shaking. She hadn't moved since stepping in. He held the glass out. Her eyes were fixed on nothing, or everything. Her shadow peeled from her feet for a second, and then snapped back. He stared. Her nails, they were growing. He swallowed hard, smiling like it was all fine. Her face turned toward him. The smile widened, wider than skin should allow. Darkness, then light, and she was right there. He stumbled back, breath catching like it hit a wall. Her hand scraped across the floor, a sound like metal on bone. His phone buzzed. The selfie he'd sent was wrong now. His vision blurred. The room tilted like it was sinking. She leaned in, whispered gently.
You live alone, don't you?
His eyes widened, realization blooming like ice in his chest. The clock ticked slower, each second stretched like something trying to escape it. Her face cracked wide open. Black eyes, splintered skin. Time reversed. The clock spun backwards, erasing logic with every tick. He tried to crawl away. Something pulled him back, something not bound by flesh. Lights flickered violently, like the room couldn't decide what was real. She climbed over him, not walking, but folding, like a nightmare taking shape. In his eyes, her true form was revealed, and it had no mercy. He screamed, but silence held him tighter than any hand could. Reality cracked, walls bent, the air itself trembled with something ancient. Then, nothing. The room was empty. David was gone. Security footage showed him, laughing, talking to no one. Each time the light blinked, she was closer, until she wasn't there at all. His laptop blinked, again and again.
Do you see me?
From his phone, fingers stretched, long black, seeking him. David vanished. Only his phone remained, buzzing like it still had something to say. The room sighed into silence, as if he'd never existed. Through the window, a soft red glow pulsed like a dying heartbeat. Her face flickered through screens, searching, hunting for the next match. 3 knocks, from nowhere, from everywhere. Her profile was back, new smile, same eyes. She was online again, waiting, watching. The window glowed red, like a wound in the dark. The curtains stirred, but the air was still. His phone came alive, a new profile, her face, her smile, unchanged. One new match, just one, always one. Faces flicked by, each one unaware they were next. A cheerful message. Hi there, Saul. Wanna meet tonight? Ooh. The smile twitched, then blinked, as if aware. From the shadows, the tapping began again. Soft, steady, closer. Long black nails scraped across the floor beneath the silence. David was gone, but the cold remained. Look closely. It's not David she's watching now. It's you. Your turn. Knock, 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 knock. You matched. She's coming.
Lena had just moved into a small, rundown house on the edge of town. It wasn't much, 2 bedrooms, a cracked porch, and an overgrown garden, but it was hers. After months of searching for affordable housing, this little place seemed perfect for a fresh start. She was an artist, just trying to find a quiet place to work and recover from a tough breakup. The house had been vacant for years, but the price was right, and the landlord seemed nice enough. He didn't mention much about the house's history, and Lena didn't ask. She wanted to forget her past and start new. The first few days were calm. The rooms were small and cramped, but they felt cozy enough. Lena began to set up her art studio in the back room and spent hours lost in her painting. It was peaceful, or at least that's what she thought. It started with small things, strange noises coming from the walls. At first, Lena thought it was the house settling, the pipes expanding and contracting. But the noises didn't stop. Late at night, when everything else was still, she would hear faint scratching, like something was moving just beneath the surface of the walls. At first, she tried to ignore it, but as the days went on, the sounds grew louder, more deliberate. Scratching, tapping, a faint thudding, like someone was trying to get out. Every time she stood still to listen, the noise would stop, leaving her to question whether she'd imagined it. But deep down, she knew she hadn't. One night, while she was in bed, the sound became unbearable. It wasn't just coming from the walls now. It was coming from the ceiling, the floor. It seemed to surround her. She couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from, but it was everywhere, as if the house itself was alive and trying to speak to her. The next day, Lena decided to investigate. She took a hammer and screwdriver and began prying at the walls, hoping to find some explanation for the unsettling noises. But when she removed a few of the wooden panels in the back room, she was met with an unexpected sight. An old, narrow space between the walls, a small crawl space she hadn't noticed before. The walls were thick with dust, and as Lena peered into the gap, she saw something that made her blood run cold. There were faint, smeared handprints on the inside of the wall, and they weren't small. They were large, as if someone or something had been trying to claw its way out of the space. But what terrified her the most was the unmistakable shape of something else, something darker, a human figure, faintly imprinted in the dust. Lena backed away, her mind racing. She couldn't explain it, but she felt the distinct sensation that whatever had left those marks was still here, watching her, waiting. That night, Lena's fears were confirmed. As she tried to sleep, she felt it. The house was watching her. She could sense the presence in the room, lurking just beyond the edges of her vision. It wasn't a shadow. It was more like an awareness, a heavy, oppressive feeling that surrounded her, closing in. She heard the sounds again, but this time they were different. They were closer. The scraping against the walls was now accompanied by something else, soft whispers, barely audible. But they were there, lingering in the air like smoke. "Help me," the whispers seemed to say. "Let me out." Lena tried to shake it off, but the fear was too strong. She ran to the door, but it wouldn't open. The door was locked, but the handle jiggled as if someone was trying to get in. She backed away, her pulse racing, when suddenly she felt a cold hand touch her shoulder. She spun around, but no one was there. The next morning, Lena went to the landlord. She couldn't bear the tension any longer. She told him about the noises, the whispers, the feeling of being watched. The landlord looked uneasy, but he didn't seem surprised. In a low voice, he told her that the house had a history, a dark one. A woman had lived there before, many years ago. Her name was Margaret. Margaret had been a reclusive woman who had spent all her time in the house, never leaving. Neighbors reported hearing strange sounds coming from the house, scraping, thumping, and sometimes crying. Margaret had disappeared without a trace, and it was rumored that she'd been trapped in the walls, her mind broken, after years of isolation. The landlord told Lena that there were stories of a hidden space within the house, an old crawl space between the walls. Some believed Margaret had been driven mad by something in the house, and others believed that she had died in the walls, her spirit forever bound to the place. But no one knew for sure. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. The whispers were back, louder than ever. But this time, they weren't in the walls. They were inside the room with her. "Help me! Help me!" The voice was clear now, pleading, desperate. And then she saw it. A figure standing in the corner of her room, half hidden in the darkness. It was a woman. Her face was pale, gaunt, with hollow eyes that stared straight into Lena's soul. Lena froze, her breath caught in her throat. The figure slowly moved toward her, a slow, deliberate step. The whispers grew louder, and Lena could feel the temperature in the room drop as the woman got closer. "Let me out," the voice whispered. "I am trapped." In a moment of sheer panic, Lena ran to the door again, but this time, it opened easily. She bolted outside, breathing heavily, not looking back. She didn't stop until she reached the end of the street. The next day, Lena packed her things and left the house, never to return. She stayed with a friend until she could find a new place. The landlord later told her that the house had been vacant for years before she moved in, and that no one had lasted more than a few months before leaving. Always citing strange noises, a heavy feeling in the air, and the unsettling presence of someone in the walls. Lena eventually found a new home, but she never forgot the woman in the walls. The whispers followed her in the silence, a constant reminder of the place that almost took her. The house on Birchwood Lane still stands, empty and waiting. And some say, if you listen closely enough, you can still hear the soft scraping against the walls. The cries for help.